Hey everyone, how's it going? So another just a ground thing video. I got a new chest mount now, which actually broke on this day that I filmed this, but I mean it still works kind of. But anyways, we're doing some maintenance on the dollies, or the things that we land on, and we have to use wheels to get this one out. Basically, they're just hydraulic things that you pump up to get the wheels up. I don't know how to explain that really well. And then, yeah, you gotta do one, and then you gotta have one guy on the tail when you do the second one, because when this one goes in the air, or this skid goes up, the second one, it has a tendency to drop back, and you can strike that. The tail strick, or the tail skid can hit the ground. So you have to have one guy on there, which he is now, controlling it, and then one guy pushes. And that's me today. It's really slippery out here now today, so, and it's hard to get it going because it's kind of low on air, those wheels. And it's really nice to have the tractor and the dollies, but this is basically ice that we're pushing on air. And I slipped, and then he slips in the back. There's ice right here, you can't push on this. It's really hard anyways. So we stop here, and then we get the tractor out to do it. Here you can see it's pretty front heavy. That's fine, you can leave it like that, but if you don't have a guy to hold the tail as you take the second set of wheels up, usually it falls back and it hits the tail on the ground, which obviously is not good. So we're gonna improvise a little bit here. Well, not so much as improvise as to do what we do when it's slippery. Also, if the helicopter is heavy and if it's really windy in a crosswind, it's really hard to push it because the tail fin is so large and it catches the wind really good, and it's hard to maintain direction without it turning into wind, like weather winds into wind. All this, see all this wet stuff that looks wet on the ground is ice. So it's hard to push it out manually like we usually do. So we're just gonna put it on the tractor here. I really like this this point of view. This there you can see how slippery it is. Too eager here. But as I said, I really like this point of view from the, especially when you're ground, like a ground personnel, because if you have it on top of the helmet, it just seems like it's so high. It's like way above the person. But now it's more immersive kind of, and it's pretty cool, in my opinion. So he lifts it up, and then I start pulling, nice and gently. And I put it in the wrong gear here, so it's a little bit too slow. But yeah, it's for people who do this every day, it's instead of just landing on the dollies, it takes a lot of time, and it's really heavy to push the helicopter out when it's heavy and if it's full of equipment. So it's usually better to wheel it out first, and then take all the equipment out, and then load the helicopter up with whatever you need, and then instead of loading it up in the hangar like we usually do, But if it's raining, or if it's really windy or it's snowy, it sucks to be out here because it takes so much time compared to just landing and pulling it with the tractor. I can't be 100% certain, but I do believe this is the first time I've actually shown a video with the wheels of how they're used. They're quite heavy as well. Like each pair weighs about, I think it's like 22 kilos. He's just gonna twist it manually here. So the slings. So you can see you can maneuver it pretty easily from the tail when it's light, but if it's windy, it's really hard to maintain the direction. There's a little valve here, and then you lift this thing, and then you can open the valve in the back, and then you depressurize. Just do this nice and slowly. Watch your feet. So I have, now that I have one down, you can let go of the back. See with those bolts sticking out from the bottom of the skid. That's where you attach the wheels on, and that's where you lift. So it's pretty much in the middle of the center of mass, but it does have a tendency to fall back, as I said. He's gonna go get a trolley or something to wheel him in, and then I get this out. And we had like usually we go for like fuel runs and put fuel barrels out to strategic locations where we need them, but sometimes it doesn't go as planned, or we don't use the fuel. So now we have a couple of barrels in the car that are full, that we've gotten from a mission that we didn't need fuel after all, or something. I can't really remember, but anyways, we're going to use that now.
Vielleicht.
I don't know why I did that. Whatever. Hear the playing sound? That is the emergency brake that I have left on, and there's a big red indicator on the RPM gauge in the dash, but I didn't notice. Oh, there I did actually notice. Oops. Yeah, this is yeah, this car is mainly used for driving fuel around. And we have these two 2x8s or 2x somethings to wheel them out. Really interesting stuff here. I don't know. You guys tell me. is probably also like one of the not most dangerous parts of the job, but it's definitely the place where I've gotten hurt the most because it's so cramped back there, and lugging those barrels around. They weigh about 200 kilos apiece. And we usually drive them in an upright position. So tilting them up is hard to do inside the car. God damn, this is so interesting.
Satser på å hive på.
Det går I hvert fall på maskinen.
Ja.
Eller kjøre bort 60 liter til fra tanken.
Okay.
Battery on here.
Det 65 til ukrise.
Nei.
Man har jo god backup I.
Some people might disagree with me by putting the fuel cap in the back there on the step. That's usually always where I've put it. The most common thing is to put it inside on the floor so that it's easily visible to the pilot, and you can see that the fuel cap is either on or off. So that way, if it's in the cockpit, or rather that it's either on or in the cockpit. Rather, so there's no, like, you're not worrying if you put the cap on or not. Just swearing and cussing. That's of course mandatory. There's a above that white line to the right of the pump, there's a little thing to put that hook in, but it will stay in place. If you just watch it when it starts. The thing that can happen is when the fuel gets into the system or into the hose that goes into the pistol grip, it gets weighted, of course, by the fuel, and it can actually pull it out. And especially if you're hot fueling, that's a big no-no. Right now I'm just checking for water in the fuel. It's been out for like 1 day or maybe whatever, so there's probably there's no fuel or no water rather in the fuel now. But sometimes if you leave it out for like a month or two, especially in colder climates or colder weather, you can get small droplets of water that are pretty easily visible in the bottom of the barrel, because water is heavier than the fuel, so it sinks to the bottom and you can see these little droplets. And that's also easy if the barrel is empty. You can see that it's kind of like a small film on the bottom. It's really beautiful, by the way. Really beautiful day. You can see this little film on the bottom. It looks like kind of like you put sand in it, and that's probably an indication that you have water. And in that case, you will have to leave it to dry out before you put any more fuel in it. So yeah, right now we're just waiting for this thing to fuel up. It's 200 liters per one of these barrels, and the full tank is 540 liters, so it'll take about 2 3/4 of barrels to get full tank, or the full fuel tank. Now usually we don't ever fill it all the way up unless we're going on super long ferries before the missions, but yeah, usually like the max we take on is about 80%. And then if you fly for like 20 minutes, then you'll be at the location with 70%, and then you can start flying the light loads first. By the time the light loads are done, you're down to about like 45-50%, and then you can take pretty normal heavy, like normal weight slings, about 900 to 1,000 kilos pretty easily. And if you're going heavier, like perhaps like 1,200 kilos, if you know you're going to a place with 1,200 kilos, you don't want to arrive obviously with more than like 50%, so you can take the light stuff and then start lifting the heavy stuff when you are down to like 30% fuel. Or like, it all depends on how many loads there are and the weights that the customer gives. Let's try and get the last bits out here. Pumps are off.
Er den full, eller?
I asked if it's full because I wonder if we were going to put more on the helicopter, and then we can take the remaining fuel on in the blue barrels. And this is just to get the last remaining. It's usually like maybe like half a liter maximum left in the hose afterwards. Just drop that back into the barrel. And then this barrel now needs to go. We need to go check it. I did post a video of that. We checked all the barrels that have been out, and then we drain them completely from fuel. And then if there is water, which is pretty rare, we have to dry them out. Now this is just Christmas music because this was filmed around Christmas, and he's telling a story that I'm not gonna share. That was pretty funny, but it's not very YouTube friendly. That's so funny. Does anybody know the English word for the thing that I'm using right now, the yellow thing to close the lid? Norwegian, like the direct translation would be like a barrel key in Norwegian, but I don't know the English name for it. I've never known it. I've asked people about it, but I've never actually heard it. Now fuel cap goes back on. And then, yeah, that's just where I put the fuel key. Some people like to have it on the vent by the left leg of the pilot seat. I am not in favor of that because you have to reach all over the panel. If you have dirty hands or dirty clothes, you're going to put dirt all over the cockpit. But that's a preference thing. The main thing is that it should be easily visible for the pilot, so that he doesn't. So that you're not unsure of whether the cap is on or not. And the fuel cap, the key rather, you cannot take the key out of the fuel cap without like unlocking it, which you never do, basically, unless you're taking it on or off. These are like 70 kilos. No, not 70 kilos, they're 70 liters. But about 60, almost 60 kilos. I can't do the math. It's 0.79 kilos per liter of Jet A1 fuel. Okay, I had to take a little break. That's why my voice is a little bit different. About like 12 hours. So it's the next day. But anyways, I can't remember. Yeah, I got that song stuck in my head. But anyways, I can't really remember what we were talking about. I think it was like the weight of the fuel or something. But yeah, that's about as interesting as it sounds. Yeah, so basically we just filled up these, we got that one from inside, the blue can, and now we're just gonna tilt the other barrel that we have in the car. We're gonna tilt it up and make it so that we can fuel it up directly from the car by putting the lid right next to the sliding door. That way you can just drive it up so you don't have to take it out and then roll it out like I did this time. But it's really nice to be two doing this inside the car, because this is, as I said yesterday, or for you it's like 5 minutes ago, it's this is where I hurt my back the most by far. Because they weigh around like 200 kilos each, or maybe like 185, 90 maybe, I can't remember. But they're pretty heavy, and they're not really easy to handle alone. Especially if it's wet, it sucks, because it's super slippery, especially on snow and stuff, it's so slippery. Yeah, just make that nice and tidy there.
Amigos, adios, adios.
Yeah, that song's been really stuck in my head. It's I can't remember the name of it. It's probably Bailando. Bailando. So yeah, we are. I think we're pretty much good to go from here. So this video has been going for about 22 minutes, and that's at least twice as long as it takes to get ready if you have it on the dolly and just pulling it with a tractor, and you need two persons. You need two guys or girls to make it ready if it's on wheels. So that's a one-man job. You can do it twice as fast on the dolly. But they are in need of some maintenance right now, so they're getting a few of the 2x4s changed out or replaced, and then fresh stroke of paint. Mad flipping skills, obviously. I actually need this Volkswagen key to close the gate here. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much done for the preparation of this mission. As I said, it's so much easier, and I can't wait to get the dollies back, especially now in the winter time. It gets it's sunny now, so this is going to thaw up by the time we go back, but the ice is if it's overcast and colder, it just stays like that, of course. So yeah, that's another video done from another perspective, or this perspective. Hope you liked it, and see you in the next one.